Coming up on Sportsource, a familiar name is making headlines in high school football. We'll bring you the details. And Georgia wide receiver Dylan Bell says he's coming back for another season. What led to his decision and what can fans expect this fall? We've got the inside scoop. Plus, the Diamond Dogs are back in the win column, but now without some heated moments on the field. Find out what fans think about the Dogs' antics. Sportsource starts now. Welcome to Sportsource. I'm your host, Lainey Martin. We kick off today with big news for Athens fans. John Rick, son of former Georgia coach Mark Rick, is the new head coach at Prince Avenue Christian. Sportsource reporter Avery Cameron has the details.
Thanks, Lainey. Prince Avenue Christian has dominated Georgia high school football in recent years, with coach John Rick playing a key role. Serving as offensive coordinator for the past 3 years, Rick has played a crucial role in shaping the Wolverines' winning legacy. And now he's stepping into an even bigger role, taking over as head coach.
Under the leadership of former head coach Greg Vandegrift, Prince Avenue Christian has seen unparalleled success. 3 state championships, 5 title game appearances, and 6 region championships. Coach John Richt has been an integral part of that journey. Now, as he takes the reins as head coach, Richt will look to continue that tradition of excellence.
So winning for us starts, we talk about it all the time. It starts in the dark when nobody's looking.
Before John Richt made his mark as a coach, he was a record-setting college quarterback. He began his playing career at Clemson before transferring to Mars Hill University, where he set multiple school records in completions, attempts, yards, and touchdown passes as a senior. After his playing days, Rick transitioned into coaching, starting as a quality control assistant at the University of Georgia, before moving up to the NFL with the Buffalo Bills. He then spent 3 years as the quarterbacks coach for the Miami Hurricanes, laying the foundation for his long and successful coaching career. Last season, Prince Avenue Christian came up short in the state championship game, falling to Hebron Christian 56-28. The Lions' victory broke the Wolverines' hopes of a three-peat, securing their first ever state title. One of the brightest stars to come through Prince Avenue under Coach Rick's guidance, quarterback Aaron Philo. Now playing for Georgia Tech, Philo was instrumental in the Wolverines' 2020 and 2023 championship teams. He made history by surpassing Trevor Lawrence as Georgia's all-time leading passer, racking up an astounding 13,922 yards over 4 years. Philo also ranks 3rd all-time in career passing touchdowns with 159 and holds the record for the most touchdown passes in a single season. With all of his experience developing top-tier talent, Coach Rick's new role is sure to make an impact on the program. His ability to cultivate quarterbacks and lead high-powered offenses will be a valuable asset as the Wolverines look to return to championship form.
So just getting the opportunity to lead these men, continue to build these relationships with them on and off the field to help them continue to grow.
But Rick's presence isn't just about football. It's about shaping young men.
We want people that are going to lead men, help them grow, become more mature, good fathers, good husbands, good employees, good citizens, and followers of Jesus Christ, and he fits that mold.
Reporting for the Carmichael Sports Institute, I'm Avery Cameron.
Coach Richt has already made a big impact in Prince Avenue Christian as both a coach and a player. Now he's taking on his biggest role yet and is ready to help the Wolverines get back on top. Back to you, Lainey.
Thanks, Avery. Shifting from the football field to the tennis court, I'm joined now by Sportsource analysts Paige Collins and Poppy Marquez.
UGA women's tennis, fresh off a national title, kicks off SEC play against South Carolina this Sunday.
Can the top-ranked Dogs keep their dominance, or will the Gamecocks pull an upset? We're going to break it down after the break, so don't go away.
UGA women's tennis is the top team in the nation. This week they host South Carolina and Athens. To break everything down, I'm joined by Sportsource analysts Paige Collins and Poppy Marquez. What can we expect with this matchup, Paige?
Thanks, Lainey. This is the first matchup between these two teams this season, and UGA women's tennis is currently ranked number 1 in the ITA Spring Team Tennis rankings. Last week, UGA was crowned 2025 ITA National Champions, defeating another top SEC team, Texas A&M, 4-1.
Poppy, tell us about the history of this matchup.
Well, Lainey, the Dogs have won the last 5 matchups versus South Carolina and hold a 23-2 overall record against them, which dates all the way back to 1999. The most recent win the Gamecocks had over the Bulldogs was in 2019 in the SEC Championship.
Poppy, tell me, do you really think Georgia can maintain its dominance this season?
Lainey, yes, I do think so. I am more than confident in Georgia's ability to stay dominant, particularly because they are led by senior Dasha Vidmanova. Dasha came to Athens from the Czech Republic, and she is the #1 ranked player in women's collegiate tennis, according to the Intercollegiate Tennis Association rankings.
That's right, Poppy. And don't forget she won the SEC tournament title in singles her junior and sophomore year. And she brings a fire to this team that has been lit ever since she got to UGA as a freshman.
Wow, this sounds like it will be a good matchup and that South Carolina will be hunting for some revenge. What key matches and players should we watch for? Paige, you start.
A key matchup we definitely need to keep an eye on is Vidmanova for Georgia and Sarah Hamner for South Carolina. Poppy, you mentioned Vidmanova is ranked #1 and Sarah Hamner is ranked 21. Vidmanova defeated Hamner in the 2023 season, and last season she was beating Hamner before the match ended. Thus, Hamner, being in her senior year, is gunning to upset the #1 player. Both are top players in the SEC, but Hamner will need to have her best performance of her career to beat Vidmanova.
Now, Poppy, what about doubles?
Doubles will play an important role because it sets the tone of the match. And last year's doubles started off in a back-and-forth battle. South Carolina defeated #15 Gedamina Grant and Mai Narundorn, but Georgia bounced back immediately as the duo of Icicle Mert and Dasha Vidmanova secured a 6-3 victory over Sarah Hamner and Misa Malkin. That being said, a matchup that I want to point out is a senior freshman pair from South Carolina, Sarah Hamner and Helena Buchwald versus a freshman-sophomore pair for Georgia, Hayden Mulberry and Icicle Mert. I think Hamner's veteran experience will drive USC into a neck-and-neck game versus Mulberry and Mert.
It sounds like this will be a great match to watch. What are your predictions this week, Paige?
For me, I'm choosing Georgia to be the winner of this match. They have all the right components to beat this South Carolina team. Especially with Dasha Vidmanova and Icicle Mert, it will be difficult for the Gamecocks to secure that win.
I'm with you, Paige. Georgia's roster is just too stacked from top to bottom to let South Carolina seep in. I'm picking Georgia to win 4-1.
Coming up on Sportsource, Georgia wide receiver Dylan Bell gives us the inside scoop on why he's running it back for one more year. And later, we're asking the big question, how far is too far when it comes to trash talk? Stick around. Sportsource returns after this short break. Welcome back to Sportsource. This first-string wide receiver has announced he's coming back for another season of Georgia football. That's right, Dylan Bell will suit up in red and black again this upcoming fall. Sportsource reporter Keisha Chestnut goes beyond the hedges and gets to dive deeper, getting to know Bell this week.
Thanks, Lainey. Bulldog fans, wide receiver Dylan Bell is back for another season. Today, we're diving into his decision to return and his remembrance he hopes to leave behind. Let's take a look. So, Dylan, how does it feel? And also, what is your favorite memory?
I'm blessed and highly favored, and my favorite memory is the brotherhood that I created here with my teammates and playing on Saturdays in front of the best fans in the nation.
So you posted on Instagram that you are back for another season. So what made you come back instead of declaring for the NFL draft?
Well, my brother was in a transfer portal, and I wanted to play with him because, I thought about the times we had in high school where we was working with each other and pushing each other past the limits that we can't even think of. So having that for my last and final year, it was like, why not, big blessing for me and my family.
And what is your day-to-day off-season training looking like right now?
I said we get up at 7 a.m. We lift. I have class, or I go home and train, or if it's in May, I work out like very early, like 7, and then have another workout at 11, and then recovery for the rest of the day.
And then how do you handle the pressures of being in the spotlight?
There's really no pressure for me. I keep my faith high. You pray to God, no matter what nobody says or whatnot, what limits people put on you. There are nothing that can stop you from doing what you're supposed to do. So we all have a reason that God brought us on this earth.
And then what is the biggest lesson that you've learned here and that you will bring into your final season?
When you fall, get right back up. No adversity can change you, only can help you in your future. So I'll say that. And we had a lot of adversity moments when we lost last year, and we was going to try and prove everyone that we can go back to what we used to do.
And lastly, what do you want the fans to remember about you at your time here at Georgia?
I'm an humble kid. I like to keep my faith high. As you can see, when I score or celebrate any type of way, I like to give praise to him. I love the community, and I love to give back to anyone who has helped me in my life. And I'm very loving and love to put a smile on people's faces.
Well, thank you, Dylan, so much for being here. My name is Keisha Chestnut for the Carmichael Sports Media Institute, and we'll see you next time. As you can see, Dylan Bell is locked in for the season and ready to make an impact on this upcoming season. It's always fascinating to get a behind-the-scenes look at what drives these athletes and fuels their passions for the game we all love. Back to you, Lainey.
Thanks, Keisha. From the gridiron to the diamond, the Bulldogs are making headlines across the board. While Bell is gearing up for another season on the football field, UGA softball is off to a scorching start. Joining me now to break it all down are Sportsource analysts Colin Miller and Nigel Whittington.
Bulldog softball is on fire. UGA is undefeated, and with SEC play just 2 weeks away, the hype is real.
After back-to-back super regional runs, could this be the year they finally take home a national title? We're breaking it all down when Sportsource returns.
Welcome back to Sportsource. Sticking with spring sports, hype continues to build with Bulldog fans for their 9th-ranked UGA softball team. The Dogs are 10-0 with SEC play exactly 2 weeks away. Coming off 2 straight super regional appearances, the team is more motivated than ever to win their first national championship. Here to break down the team and tell you everything you need to know are Sportsource analysts Colin Miller and Nigel Whittington. Guys, let's get into it.
Thanks, Lainey. While UGA softball has high hopes for this season, they can't forget their heartbreaking finish in 2024. Entering the NCAA tournament as the 11th seed, the Bulldogs were swept by the 6th-ranked UCLA Bruins in the Super Regional round. While the team didn't finish the way they wanted, it was still a historic year for them. They made the Super Regional round for the 2nd year in a row, which was also the 2nd time in team history. With plenty of experience from the coaching staff to the roster, the Dogs are looking to reach new heights in 2025.
Listen, 2 straight trips to the Super Regional round is no accident, and that's in large credit to head coach Tony Baldwin. Last season, Baldwin's Bulldogs were the 3rd-ranked team in the country, their highest ranking in over a decade. Baldwin also served on staff for the USA Softball Women's National Team, helping the team win gold and further showcasing his coaching talents at both the pro and college level.
There's a positive vibe that they're really into the team component, that they're really together. I think they support each other really well, and they're into playing team softball. And I think those things are we've built and they've shown over the course of the practice season, and to see them kind of hold up under the game has been rewarding.
Looking at the roster, who are some players that you guys think can lead this team to a championship?
So far, I've been super impressed by senior outfielder Dallas Goodnight. She's currently 6th in the SEC with a .520 batting average through 25 at-bats, and she's only been struck out twice. So when she steps up to the plate, it's a pretty safe bet that she'll make contact. She's also more than capable of going yard. She already has a home run this season through 9 games. Now, Goodnight was 2nd team All-SEC last year as a junior, so don't be surprised if she makes the jump to the 1st team this year.
Yeah, so just trusting the process. We've been putting the work in all fall and, all of the month of January, so just sticking to what we've been working on and trusting the plan, and it's showing up in a game.
Listen, we've got to talk about senior pitcher Lily Bax. D1 Softball ranks her as a top 15 pitcher in the nation, and coming into the season, she was one of the 53 players on the watch list for the USA Softball Collegiate Player of the Year award. Bax finished last season top 10 in the SEC in innings pitched, wins, saves, appearances, games finished, and games in relief. In other words, she's a key piece in the Dogs' dreams of bringing home the hardware in Oklahoma City.
What have been some of the team's biggest strengths in their hot start this season?
Simply put, this team gets on base. So far, the Bulldogs rank in the top 20 nationally in batting average, on-base percentage, and OPS. Don't get me wrong, this team is more than capable of hitting home runs. They even hit 2 grand slams against Western Carolina earlier in the week. But they're really great at simply finding ways to get on base and putting themselves in positions to win games. That could really come in handy later in the season when they're facing some of the best pitchers in the country.
30 of Georgia's 74 runs have come in the first inning. UJ scored 5 or more runs in the first inning 5 times in their first 9 games. And the Bulldogs have pushed a run across in the first inning in 7 games. So for opposing teams, more often than not, they're playing to catch up while the Dogs maintain control.
There's still plenty of games left to play this season, but how far do you guys think this team can go in 2025?
Lainey, I think that this team has a real chance of winning it all. They've got plenty of postseason experience on their roster, and they have one of the best coaches in the country. Not to mention, they're playing in the most competitive conference in college softball. In the current standings, 8 of the top 10 teams are in the SEC, including the Oklahoma Sooners, who have won the last 4 national championships. Playing against the best of the best every week will give the team plenty of experience heading into the tournament.
I agree with Colin, but I think the window is closing. 2 of the biggest names for the team won't be Bulldogs next year, meaning the team needs to capitalize, but the road ahead might be rocky. Games are never easy playing in the SEC, and like Colin said, with the introduction of softball powerhouses like Oklahoma and Texas, the team has a multitude of games to add to their resume once the postseason comes around. This is one of the top teams in the country, but so are a majority of their conference foes. So SEC play could make or break their chances at a postseason run. Back to you, Lainey.
Thanks, guys. Coming up on Sportsource, you gotta love a little sports drama. Georgia pitcher Brian Curley goes viral, but are Dog fans all for it or not feeling it? We hit the streets to find out. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Sportsource. The Diamond Dogs took down Kennesaw State this week, but it wasn't just the win making headlines. Joining me now with more on what went down is Sportsource reporter Cooper Wow. Cooper?
Thanks, Lainey. Georgia pitcher Brian Curley has gone viral for taunting a base runner right before firing the game-winning strike. Was it all in good fun, though, or did he take it too far? Here's what Bulldog fans had to say. While smack talk is an essential part of most sports, do you think that Curley's antics went too far, and why?
I don't think they went too far. I think creating aura is part of sports, and if you as an opponent can't handle that, then you probably just need to lock in.
There's a lot of smack talk in not just baseball, but in all sports. Do you think that Brian Curley and the Dogs went a little bit too far, or do you think that that is an appropriate level of smack talk, and why?
I think it's perfect, but it is KSU, which I'm very happy that we're winning and that we're doing well over the last few seasons, and then we had Charlie last season as well, but it's maybe a little much for KSU. And that game was what, 6-4, 7-4? So somewhat of a clutch moment, but to do it against basically what used to be a D2 school, I don't know about that.
Do you think that Curley's antics from the UGA baseball team last night were appropriate during a live play, and why or why not?
I would say yes. I think to a certain degree, those antics are just a part of competitive nature. I do think they can reach a degree where it's like disrespectful or even like kind of inciting anger or kind of like hate in a way, I guess you could say. But I think that to me was just seemed like, you know, just more of a competitive messing around side. So I wouldn't say it crossed that line.
Smack talk and those sort of antics are around in a lot of different sports all the time. But do you think that UGA and the Dogs, particularly Brian Curley, went a little bit too far last night against Kennesaw State?
I don't think they went too far because Kennesaw State was doing it too, so I think it was just funny.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I don't think we went too far at all. I think you could have done more, actually.
Yeah, I agree.
Really?
I've loved watching it. I think it's going to attract a lot of viewers, too.
Love it or hate it, Curley's antics have everyone talking. Back to you, Lainey.
Thanks, Cooper. No doubt, Curley's moment has stirred up plenty of debate. That's a wrap for Sportsource. From viral moments to game-winning plays, we've got it all covered. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Have a great weekend.